My name is Ethan, and for the last 4 years, I've been working night shifts at a small convenience store right off Highway 56. You know the kind of place. Buzzing fluorescent lights, humming refrigerators, dusty shelves with snacks nobody buys, and a wide glass front that reflects more darkness than it keeps out. During the day, it looks harmless. At night, it's something else entirely. People say the highway attracts strange types. Truckers who haven't slept in days. Couples fighting in the car long before they step inside. Runaways. People who don't want their names remembered. But the ones who worry me most are those who come in silently, acting like the store is just a break in whatever nightmare they've been living long before they arrived. I've seen a lot in these 4 years, enough to understand one thing. The store isn't dangerous, the night is. And some people bring the night with them. There was one shift in particular I will never forget. The kind you think about weeks later, lying awake, wondering if you misunderstood what you saw, or if the truth is much worse. It was a Thursday night in late October. Chilly, windy, no moon. The kind of night when headlights seem weak and even your own reflection looks wrong in the window. My shift started at 10 p.m. By midnight, the road outside was empty. At 12:17 a.m., a man walked in. He didn't open the door fully, just slipped through, like he didn't want to let the night in behind him. He wore a heavy jacket with the hood pulled low, and he kept his head down. He didn't browse, didn't look around, just walked straight toward the back of the store, where the camera couldn't see the angle clearly. I called out, "Let me know if you need help." He didn't answer. After maybe 30 seconds, he came back to the counter with a bottle of water. His hands were shaking, not like from cold, but like he was restraining something. When he finally lifted his head, I saw his face, or rather, I saw the parts of it that weren't bruised, deep purplish swelling around one eye, a cut lip, dirt on his neck, like someone had grabbed him there. He didn't look at me, just whispered, "Do you have a restroom?" I pointed toward the back hallway. He nodded slowly and walked away. 5 minutes passed, then 10, then 15. I debated whether to check on him, but something in my gut told me to stay behind the counter. At 12:42 a.m., the front door opened again. A second man walked in. This one wasn't hiding his face. Tall, broad shoulders, jeans dusty like he'd walked through a field. He scanned the store slowly, methodically, eyes moving from shelf to shelf, then to the cameras, then finally to me. "You alone tonight?" he asked. "Yeah," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Just me." He walked past the counter, pretending to browse, but he wasn't looking at the shelves. He was listening, head tilted the slightest bit toward the hallway where the first man had gone. "Busy night?" he asked casually. "No," I said. "Pretty quiet." He gave a slow nod. "Good. Quiet's good. Helps you hear things." The way he said it felt like a warning. He wandered the aisles for another minute, picking up items just to put them back down. Then he walked to the restroom hallway and stopped, staring at the door like he expected it to open. It didn't. He came back to the counter. "You see anyone come through here? Maybe 30, wearing a jacket, looks kind of beat up." I froze. He smiled. Not friendly, not angry, just certain. "I think he came in here," he said. "I just want to talk to him." Every instinct I had screamed that he was lying. "No," I said. "Haven't seen anyone like that tonight." He stared at me long enough that I felt sweat drip down my back. Then he leaned closer and whispered, "If you're lying, that's on you. Not my problem." He grabbed a pack of gum, tossed a 5 on the counter, and walked out. The moment the door closed, I locked it. Then I hurried to the restroom door and knocked. Silence. "Hey," I whispered. "You need to come out. Now." The door opened just an inch. just enough for me to see his eye. "Is he gone?" he whispered back. "For now." The man stepped out. He wasn't shaking anymore. He looked terrified, but in a focused way, like someone who knew he couldn't afford to panic. He said, "Please, I just need a ride to the next town. Just 10 miles. "I can't leave the store," I said. He swallowed hard. "Then I'll go on foot." He turned toward the back door, the emergency exit that led directly into the dark, empty field behind the building. "You sure that's safer?" I asked quietly. He didn't answer. He pushed the door open and slipped out without looking back. A cold gust of air rushed in behind him, carrying the smell of rain and mud. I watched the field through the back window. He moved quickly, keeping low, heading toward the tree line. After a minute, he was gone. I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. At 1:26 a.m., the tall man's truck rolled back into the parking lot. He didn't come inside. He just sat there, engine running, headlights pointed directly at the store. Then he got out, walked to the edge of the field, and stared into the dark, exactly where the injured man had gone. He stood there for a long, long time. And then, without looking back, he stepped into the field and disappeared between the tall grass. He never returned to his truck. By sunrise, both men were gone. One truck. No people. No footprints. No sign either of them had ever been there. But at 6:03 a.m., when the first morning employee arrived, she found something by the back door. A single muddy handprint. Fresh. Pressed low against the metal. Too low to be from someone standing. Like someone had crawled to the door, but never made it inside. I still work there. Still do nights. But now, whenever a car pulls in after midnight, I feel the same tightening in my chest, because I know that no matter who walks through that door, they're not just stopping for snacks or gas. Everyone who enters a store at night is running from something. And sometimes, something is running after them. I should have driven away the moment I stepped out of that store. Every instinct in me said, leave. But something kept me there. Maybe the way the place felt unfinished, as if the story I'd stepped into wasn't over yet. As I sat in my car with the engine running, I glanced toward the store's windows. The lights inside flickered once, then steadied. I could swear I saw someone moving between the aisles. Someone tall. Someone who wasn't there when I left. I turned the engine off. I shouldn't have. But I did. The highway behind me was silent, stretching into the kind of darkness that swallows headlights whole. The only sound was the buzzing from the store's old fluorescent signs. I stepped out again. The door was slightly open. I knew for a fact it had closed behind me before. My hand trembled as I pushed it. The bell above the entrance gave a short, metallic rattle. Not the usual ring, more like someone had smashed it years ago, and it still tried to cling to life. Inside, the air felt colder. The humming refrigerator units were off now. No fan noise, no electric hum, just quiet. Too quiet. "Hello?" I called out, hating how my voice echoed back to me. No answer. I moved deeper into the store. The aisles looked the same, but not at the same time. Items had shifted. Snacks I'd seen on one shelf were now on another. A whole rack of canned food was missing entirely. I wasn't imagining it. I knew I wasn't. The counter area was dark except for the small lamp the clerk had been using. But the clerk, Michael, he'd said his name wasn't there anymore. Instead, a notebook lay open where he'd been standing. My chest tightened as I stepped closer. It wasn't a logbook. It was an inventory. It was a journal. And on the open page, written in a hurried, uneven hand, was a sentence that froze me where I stood. "If someone else comes in after I leave, do not speak to them." I swallowed hard. Behind me, the entrance bell rattled again. I didn't turn around immediately. My body felt locked, every muscle stiff. When I finally forced myself to look, I saw a figure standing in the doorway. Tall, thin, and completely still. "I'm closed," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. The figure didn't move. The store lights flickered again, and for the brief moment they dimmed, I lost sight of him entirely. When they came back up, he was closer. I stepped backward, bumping into the counter. "Store's closed," I repeated, louder now. Still nothing. His head was slightly tilted, like he was studying me, but I couldn't make out his face. It was the shadows. Yes, the shadows that kept hiding the details. Or maybe it was something else. I reached behind me, feeling for my keys, my phone, anything. My fingers brushed against the journal again. A second line had appeared beneath the first one. Fresh ink, still wet. "If you see him, don't run. He follows faster." My breath hitched. I don't know how it was possible, how words appeared while I was looking away for only seconds, but they were there. The figure took another step. That broke whatever was holding me in place. I grabbed the journal, shoved it under my arm, and bolted toward the back of the store. Not toward the exit, because the exit was blocked now. He stood right in the doorway, motionless, but closer than before, too close to risk passing him. I sprinted past the stockroom door, toward the emergency exit I'd glimpsed earlier, when the clerk walked me through the back. I slammed into it with my shoulder. It didn't open. The metal was ice cold, like it had been sitting in a freezer. Footsteps behind me. Slow. Measured. Not rushing, because he didn't need to. I pushed harder. The door refused to budge. I felt the air change. Someone was standing directly behind me. I didn't turn around. Not because of bravery, but because I knew that if I saw him up close, something inside me would break. My hand grazed the crash bar again, and this time it gave way. The door flew open. Cold night air flooded in, sharp and merciful. I launched myself into the darkness behind the store, stumbling onto gravel, almost falling. My heartbeat hammered in my skull as I sprinted toward the highway. I didn't dare look back until I reached my car. When I did, the emergency exit door was shut. No one was outside, just silence and the flickering store sign. But the journal? That was real. And on the last page, written across the entire sheet in shaky block letters, "Don't ever come back." I didn't need to be told twice. I got in my car, locked the doors, and didn't stop driving until the store's lights disappeared entirely in my rearview mirror. But even now, months later, whenever I drive down a dark highway and pass a small store with a flickering sign, my chest tightens. Because I know one thing for sure. If I ever stop again, he'll be waiting.